Hello and how you doing, and welcome back to both Two Jagoffs and Steel City Commuters. I am your host, Austin Cairns, joined here with
Nicholas Brown.
And welcome back. And yes, we have yet again another crossover interview, a crossover special for Interview Sunday. And today's guest is a guest I've been wanting to bring on all semester. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's welcome Dean Keith Paylo to the podcast. It's so good to see you.
Oh, thank you, Austin. I appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity. This is great. Obviously, I was a little jealous because I knew that the president came in and you had other guests, and I couldn't wait to come over and talk with you all.
Absolutely. You're in the chair where President Versailles was, Bernie was, had a few wrestlers in here, too, that was in that chair. Angela was in that chair.
There you go. This is a big chair to fill, I guess, as they say.
Big chair to fill, and you look really nice, too. Love the suit game as well.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Of course. So I want to talk about your career just a little bit. So obviously, you were in the broadcasting field. And you were helping out so many great students here, including myself, getting into the sports communication field. I want to know, though, where did this whole journey begin for you?
Well, it did back in high school. I have to say, back in high school, I was the sports editor for my high school newspaper, and you get the bug. And I had no desire to go into communications or journalism in any way, shape, or form. My first stop was pre-medicine and physical therapy. And again, I played sports, so I was a soccer player. And the idea was to play at the highest level that I possibly could. The dream of most athletes are you want to play at Division I. Back in the 80s, I am old. So back in the 80s, a soccer player, soccer was just coming on and really being made noticed in the United States. If you played soccer, people looked at you a little oddly. They were, why are you soccer? But I played baseball, basketball all my life, so I was 3-4 sport athlete. But soccer I really loved and saw a great opportunity to do that in college. And so that led to me having to bounce around. So I transferred from my first university after my first year for a better opportunity at playing sports. Back then, not a lot of people transferred. That was kind of a taboo. But I really wanted to reach for the stars, and then that's where I ended up. I played Division I soccer and had to change my major. Didn't have to, wanted to. Knew that wasn't my right route. And then had a great opportunity in getting a business degree with a communications concentration and journalism concentration. So it gave me the best of both worlds. And my university really gave me the opportunity to do whatever I wanted in broadcasting. So next thing you know, I'm calling everything from track meets to basketball games to doing PA announcing. They just opened up the door to a live show that I had every day on television. It was a closed-circuit television station that probably broadcast to about 10,000 people each day. And at 3 o'clock, I was Dr. Sports. It's kind of a ripoff. I won't lie to you. God bless Myron Cope. God rest his soul. I'd come on with a stethoscope on, and I would talk sports for about 15 minutes every day at 3 o'clock. So it got the bug. Got a great opportunity to do an internship with WTAE through a bunch of connections. Ended up staying there for almost 2 years. And I was in the sports department and I will die on this hill, the best sports casting crew ever in the city of Pittsburgh, and that was Bill Hillgrove was one of the anchors.
Friend of the show, actually.
He's amazing. When I see Bix, I still give him a hug every time I see him. Stan Savran, God rest his soul, was on that crew. John Staggerwald was the other third, and then a not so known, he was only here for a couple years, Lanny Haskins. Now, if you talk about to Bill Hillgrove about Lanny, he was from Sacramento. He ended up going back to California. But that was a powerful sports department. And
what a lineup.
You talk about them giving me full reign. At the time, I would have my own Channel 4 car. I was in charge of Pirate Post Game, Steeler Training Camp. We had indoor football at the time, the Gladiators, which I covered those. Again, couldn't take away from, and you were able to do a lot more back then probably than you are now. Mm-hmm. And I had the most famous thumb in my family because you always saw my hand with my thumb with the Channel 4 microphone, but you never saw my face because I wasn't in the union. So it was one of those things where I enjoyed that so much. Gave me kind of that, and then I ended up going back to my university working and starting in higher education about 9 months after I graduated. And got the opportunity to call Division I football and basketball for almost 15 years.
That's incredible.
Yeah, as a color analyst. Loved it.
So what made you do the transition? Did you not like the TV business aspect? Did you want to go back to, higher education? What made you kind of put everything into it?
Well, that's it. everything happens for a reason, I always say. I had every desire to be the next Jim Nance. I'm sorry. I did. I mean,
Yes.
it was everyone. I'm sure in your heart of hearts, this is what you want to do. Again, I'll go back to it. Back then we had the huge resume tapes that we put together, and I put together, and I was mailing those all over the country. Got some, hooks in Texas and things along those lines. And when you're starting to discuss those jobs, I'm from Pittsburgh. I'm a Pittsburgh. Back then, I'm a first generation college student, and my father said, hey, when you get a college degree, you got a job right away, right? College degrees in the mid 80s, this town was hurting. I mean, the mills have just all closed. It was a depressing place. And again, you've heard these stories. If it wasn't for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I mean, this town was hurting. And that kind of brought us all together. My dad was a mill hunk, as they say, for 40 years. He was in the mill for 40 years, hard labor. Mm-hmm. And he said, wait, you have a college degree. There should be people waiting in line. No, that doesn't happen. So spreading out those resume tapes and trying to get an opportunity. And then you look, again, you have to survive. I mean, offers are coming from different places for $10,000 a year. $10,000 a year. And you're moving yourself all the way across country. And I had to make a decision. Am I going to use my business degree? Am I going to go for it? And I don't have many regrets in life. Sometimes I think to myself, why didn't I go for it? Why didn't I? You almost have to. And then I had some opportunities in marketing and advertising that I took. And then it was a short period of time after graduation. And then, again, all things happen for a reason. The Dean of Enrollment, this was Robert Morris. The Dean of Enrollment was a big soccer fan. He watched me play a lot of my games. Someone called out of the blue and said, there's this great opportunity for you in admissions that you need to consider, because it's selling the institution and it's going out and it's spreading the word about what's going on at Robert Morris. I was so involved in college. I played sports. I was the editor of the school newspaper. I had those daily shows, just like you guys. You're doing the right thing. You're so immersed in what you're doing. Believe me when I say it pays off. Went into the interview, didn't last that long. I'm thinking, I think it was a good interview. I walk out, and the Dean of Enrollment says, when can you start? And I'm like, whoa.
Whoa.
I was like, seriously? He goes, yeah. He goes, of course. He goes, I know who you are. I know what you did when you were here for the last 3 years. We don't want to lose you. Rest is history. 36 years later, I am in higher education and loved really every minute. So, again, everything happens for a reason.
And 36 years is quite a long time. And I got to say, I'm going to go over to Point Park University now for a second. When I first came here, it was one of the most welcoming environments that I've ever been a part of. I got to ask, what has it been like working for Point Park University?
Well, 23 years. Again, I wouldn't be here 23 years if I didn't love it and have a passion for Point Park University. I have been fortunate enough to see the transformation of when I got here. There were 5 or 6 buildings to where you get to 18 buildings. And that's, 23 years is a long period of time. But I've got to see it morph from this small little college, because we were still a college when I came here in 2003. And so as I get to 23 years, and it's amazing to see the growth. It's amazing to see even the facilities we're sitting in right now, the connections that we have, the respect that we have as a university in downtown Pittsburgh and really across the country and the world. And it has just been an amazing ride, and it's going to continue. I have no desire to really go anywhere. I really have a passion for this university. And even though I worked for my alma mater and saw them go from a college to a university and everything else, I look at this is my adopted university that I have, in all honesty, it seems like more passion and more allegiance, obviously, too, because the university's been so good to me, and I've got to see so much happening here.
That's great. And I'll tell you this, too. Whenever I first came to Point Park, every hand that I shook was welcoming. You were actually one of the first people that I met. I transferred in after my first 2 years at CCAC. I got an associate's degree in liberal arts and science. And then I came here to pursue my sports communications degree, my sports broadcasting desire, my goal that I put when I was in high school. And you were one of the first people that gave me advice and said, get involved and get involved early. Make sure you make those connections. And I feel like, Nick, I speak for the both of us when I say that we've grown our LinkedIn pages, we've grown our X pages, we've grown our social media platforms. And not only that, every hand that we shook, we made sure to make an early impression on, because you never know when they're going to come back down the line.
Well, and it's the same and every individual is different. That is an offer that I make every single time, whether it's at orientation or I'm in front of a classroom, and it's true because over 36 years, you can easily see, and I could sit here for hours with you and give you examples of students who took that advice in a sense and got involved and like you said, their resume tapes, your resume, your physical resume, the different exposure that you've had, whether it's TV or radio or podcasts or calling games or news, writing for the Globe. I mean, those students who are active are successful. You know, you've heard me use the example of Josh Croup. You know, Josh Croup comes here and Austin, I got to admit, you remind me a lot of Josh. I've told you this before. Mature beyond your years, just different in a sense. Both you guys driven, you know, knowing that you have career aspirations and you're just kind of floating out there. I don't know what I want to do and I'll figure that out. No, you knew exactly what you needed to do and go after it. And then, yeah, you spread yourself thin sometimes. But again, at the end of the line, the finish line is going to be, you know, I can't imagine the stars, the limits for you both because of what you're doing. And Josh, at a young age still, I consider him young. He's got 3 Emmy Awards behind him. And you know, it's because of what he did and the foundation that he built. And I told Josh when he was 18 years old and seeing what he was doing immediately he came onto this campus, I said, I'm going to turn on ESPN SportsCenter one day. And I don't even know if he wants to do this anymore. And I'm going to go, oh, my God, it's Josh Croup. You know, he did it. He's on, you know, he's a SportsCenter anchor. I know that's harder this day and age. But I see that, you know, for the both of you, sky's the limit. And, you know, just go for it, as they say.
And you would say it's about making those connections early.
Networking, and I tell this to my own 2 kids that are in college, networking is the key of life. It really is. Now, please, again, forgive me for sounding old, but this generation truly, I do not believe, values the importance of networking. It still is so prevalent in business or in communications or what really anything that you want to do. The shake of that hand, the introduction, just getting to know, being linked in, you know, those kind of things that might seem small, but just having those contacts, business cards. I mean, I love them. I give them out like candy, to be honest with you, but I want people to be able to connect. And I could give you, again, thousands of examples of what those connections did for me over these last 36 years of my career that have just enabled me to accomplish so much. And it's all about just networking and being a people person and putting yourself out there. And again, this generation, I think technology, it has really changed the importance of networking. It really has, because the phone and the immediate the ability to have so much information in the palm of your hands where you don't have to work very hard to get it. Has taken that importance of networking.
And talking about connections, I think it's because of the opportunities Point Park gives to all the students, the amount of internships you can do, the amount of sports teams. You're literally, if you come to Point Park, you're in the central of it all. Can you kind of speak to a little bit of how students should be getting involved, how they should be making connections, and just kind of making sure students are getting out there? What do you tell a freshman that's a little bit nervous to go to an event and to shake that hand and to get that connection? How can they get the ground running?
Great question, Nick. I tell them it's never too early. I told the freshman class in my opening comments at orientation this year, it is never too early. As a freshman, you still should be thinking, even if you don't know what your career aspirations are exactly, you haven't nailed it down, and things are going to change most likely. But it's the idea of it's never too early to start that resume. And they say, well, what am I going to put on the resume? I have a couple summer jobs. It's something. But then that's what you can take a look at and say, I know that I have to build upon that. It's never too early to go to the Career Readiness Center. I mean, Dean Jolin does an amazing job and his staff in making those connections. There's never too many internships. There's never too many co-op opportunities. And you couldn't have said it better, Nick, that we are in downtown Pittsburgh. We sell ourselves. We tell everybody that if you cannot, make connections here, and we will make those for you. I make that a commitment to students, and I give them a challenge, to be honest with you. I love challenges. Again, being a former athlete, still love golf. A lot of passion.
Got that
there.
competitive nature still.
I say, challenge me to tell me that I can't do something for you. You come into me and say, I want to do this. Can you help? And as we just talked about with connections, I will pick up phones, I will write letters, I will do whatever, send emails, do whatever that I have to do in order to make those connections for students, in order for them to get to where they need to be. Now, there is the flip side to that, because it's a partnership. So the student has to bring something to the table. They can't just come in and say, you know what, I really haven't done much, I really haven't, gotten involved, I really haven't. And that's why I say to freshmen, start now, build the foundation, and then continue to build the house, because you got to have a strong foundation before the house can be built, as I use that analogy. But there shouldn't be any apprehension or the ability to really get to where you want to because of the connections that we do have through career readiness or through the connections just like myself with you all. We can make it happen, and we've proven that. I just need more students, and we need more students to have that mindset. Some do, a lot do, and some wait till it's too late. And senior year is not the time. Freshman year is the time. I go back to that Josh Krupp example. We used to send a group of students to the baseball meetings. That's all changed. COVID changed a lot in this world. But, the baseball meetings used to have these career fairs that we used to send. We've sent up to 10 students, but they were handpicked, and you had to go through an interview process. And Josh Krupp comes back from the first winter meetings after his freshman year. And I remember him being introduced to me and saying, because I had the final approval of, when it was recommended to me, hey, we really need, you to support this guy, because, of course, I supported him, and we sent financial, we had the resources behind them, because we didn't want it costing a lot of money. But our goal was, we're going to only put the people who are going to come back with jobs. So they said, I got this freshman I want you to consider. Freshman? Yeah, freshmen can't be ready for this. I mean, they just had 1 year of school. What's their resume look like? What have they done, in a sense? They're going to be relying a lot on very short histories. I interviewed Josh, and I was like, God, I'm very open to being wrong. I was like, I was wrong. This guy seems like he's 40, and he's 18 years old, and he really knows what he's doing. He goes out to those baseball meetings, and I think I'm correct in this number. He had 12 or 13 job offers of the baseball meetings. I was like, who does that? And he chose one, spent a summer, working for a minor league baseball team, and got so much experience. He did everything, I swear, from putting the mascot uniform on to sweeping the stadium to doing the advertising, the broadcasting. And next thing you know, you just build upon that. And like yourselves, now he's hitting up the Pirates, he's got the Penguins, he's, all those different things. Do it early. Do not wait till it's late.
And don't you feel like another issue, too, is there are so many students that are too nervous to make that connection early on? Because something I've noticed, and again, this is not calling out any fellow peers or anything, is too many students wait too long, wait till it's too late. So that freshman, maybe they'll say, okay, let me just kind of see how my classes go, then kind of go from there. And then your sophomore year passes, then your junior year passes. Now you're looking at your senior year, and you're ready to go out in the job market, yet you don't even have any connections with your own university because you stayed so subtle. What advice would you give to those students who feel that way?
Again, we can't be more friendly. In student affairs, there's 20, I think we're at 29 departments within student affairs. Every one of them has an open door policy. Every one of them, we can't be more friendlier in all of our different offices. When you look at student activities, when you look at career readiness, when you look at student life, commuter affairs, everything from transportation to the police force, we're here to support you. There is no reason. My advice is the only thing holding you back is you. And it's probably a bad tagline, but seriously, in all honesty, that's the only thing holding you back. You've got to spread your wings, as they say, and really give an opportunity, even if it's just to introduce yourself. Met with 2 freshmen yesterday, and brand new students to the university, and we had this type of conversation. I said, do not, to your point, Austin, do not let time. I said, these 4 years go fast. You're blinking, and you're like, I'm a sophomore, I'm a junior, I'm a senior. What have I done? And again, waitressing or being a waiter or doing things in restaurants or doing the service industry things, sure, they're important because they make you money. But you also have to think about, what am I doing kind of professionally in order to make myself attractive once I walk across that stage and have my diploma in hand? Because you don't want to start from square one after you've graduated. And there are a lot of students who do that.
Yeah, those are the students that are usually the ones that also have the hardest time finding those jobs.
Absolutely. Students always say, how am I supposed to get experience if no one will get me experience? Well, that's what internships and co-ops are for. And that's why I do push a lot the co-ops. And I know that students are getting warmer to the idea because, you can still be a full-time student. You could still immerse yourselves in another 6 credits. You can be a full-time student, carry 2 classes, carry 6 credits in a co-op, immerse yourself, get you somewhere where you're working 40 hours a week, getting paid. But people are like, I don't know if that's for me. I'd rather do an internship where it's kind of less of a commitment or so on. I can tell you that we have a 100% success rate in students who do co-ops. That should tell it. Now, again, it's a little bit more work. You have to juggle a lot of different things throughout that semester, but the rewards are amazing. I'm not taking anything away from internships because I know that you can have multiple ones of those. And I would recommend, if you have the opportunity, do multiple internships if you can. They're just so valuable, and there's a great way to do networking.
Is that why, because this freshman class coming in was up like 20%? Is it because of the internships? What makes Point Park be an outlier, a standout to its fellow peers, other community colleges, other colleges, and just the entire kind of population and how Pittsburgh stands out? Is it because of Point Park's in downtown? What makes it stand out?
I would say yes to all those different things, without a doubt. One, our location is a great selling point because we are in the hub of one of the largest metropolitan areas in the United States. 2, higher ed has to be unique. I think we're a unique institution that offers a wide variety of majors and possibilities. Our growth in athletics, we can't deny that. We're bringing 270 athletes this year. That's a huge bump in a sense. Adding lacrosse. Adding wrestling. We just announced with women's flag football for
That's going to be big.
year.
Yes, I'm
pretty cool.
excited to see how that transforms.
And again, we have a president who is just, very open to change and to, be aggressive in the markets and offer things that students want. And so I can't credit enough Dr. Brasalis and the things that he does. It has helped in just a short period of time to grow this university. And I always say I can't wait to see what's ahead because we're already saying, there's a lot of things, coming ahead. And I really believe that we have a unique student body. I've always said this. One of the things that drew me to Point Park in this opportunity was a lot of times it becomes too much of a business in a sense. And I've always thought that Point Park always had that, it's overused, but family feel, that you feel warm, that every student feels they have a place here, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from. It is that place that everyone I really feel belongs. And that has been the big draw. And may we never lose that as a university, because I think it's one of the most important things that Point Park does. Because you can come here and be yourself. Mm-hmm. You can come here and do if you're dedicated and you got the time and you have the energy to do it, you can literally do whatever you would like because it's afforded to you. So many institutions, as you both probably know, that you get to. You're not going to be sitting in a podcasting studio. You're like a junior or senior because you got to wait in line and you pay your dues. I always say to the freshmen, you can get involved second one. So I think that's what makes us unique, Nick.
And you know what? I could not agree more with you on that, too, because, like I said, I went to CCAC before I came here, and I went to Carlington, and no disrespect to Carlington at all. They've taught me so much that I've taken to Point Park and to CCAC and to my professional life, but I really couldn't be myself there. I really couldn't open up as that true wrestling fan or as that true broadcaster or the podcaster, the one that just kind of wanted, like the voice of the voiceless, essentially. It's kind of what I was going for. And Point Park has not only allowed me to do it, but has encouraged me to do it. And that, I think, is what really stands out. So that was a really good question on it.
Yeah, it was, Nick. I mean, it's like Planet Fitness. It's the no judgment zone.
I like
it really
that.
is. Seriously, and you can be here, and there's no one judging. And I love that about it. No one wears any kind of sign on them that says, oh, I'm pigeonholed into this or that. You can really You can be diversity is used in so many different ways. We are such a diverse university in so many different ways.
We are. One of the big parts that I love about this university is the massive sports program we have. We do a lot of different sports, and I think it's time we talk some sports. You said you love sports. You're setting up for it. You know, it's serious now.
That's it. Live and die. My entire life. I started playing baseball when I was 5 years old. Played for 21 years of baseball. Put in another 20 plus in old man softball, but at high levels. Quit playing soccer only a few years ago.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I just sports has been something that was emphasized. My brother was an incredible athlete, blue chip basketball player. It was ingrained in our family. You know, my dad was an athlete, but, you know, back in the 50s and so on, the opportunities, you know, weren't so much there. But at the same time, really encouraged us to get involved. So it's been a part, and I love the team aspect. That's what I try to do as a department leader and so on, that everything, if you base something on a team, it's going to be hard to fail. Just for the fact that, you know, when one team member may be down, the other ones pick you up. So I always say I'm a team guy, even though I love golf and that's an individual sport. I always say I'm not a golfer or a tennis player. You know, I want to be a part of something that's dynamic.
Right. You want to be that quarterback. You want to be that point guard.
Absolutely.
Exactly. You want to be that starting pitcher. What's your favorite sport? Do you have a favorite one?
Wow. Like I said,
this will lead into our next question.
I've played them. I've played so many.
Break it down like this. Your favorite sport to watch. Let's go from
favorite sport to watch?
Yeah, we'll go there.
I love football. I mean, I'm a Steeler fan. I grew up in Pittsburgh. I mean, it's in my blood. That has meant so much to me, and as I said, the impact that it's had on this city. Huge Premier League soccer fan.
Okay.
And I coached, again, with my kids. I started coaching them as soon as so I've coached softball, basketball, soccer. I coached soccer for the longest period of time. I've coached all football. So I coached all these sports because I love coaching too.
Coach Paylo, not Dean.
Yes, there it is. I love it. And so I love soccer just for the fact that people, when someone says, oh my God, how do you watch soccer? The game ended on a 0-0 tie. You don't understand. Those are some of the best games because of the strategy and everything along those lines and how you build formations and so on. So I think if people know the game, it's one of the best. So I'd have to say between soccer and football.
Between soccer and football. So you said you're a big Steelers fan. Does that go with all the teams, Pirates, Penguins
Absolutely.
too? Or? Okay, so you're Pittsburgh all across the board.
Absolutely.
NBA, I'm assuming it's Cavs?
It was Cavs, yeah, with the shirt. Yeah, Nick, I appreciate it. Who else do we root for?
Right, that is true.
But one of my biggest want moments had to be with the Cavs. So LeBron was with the Cavs. My buddy calls me and he says, hey, I know they're expensive, but I'd really like you to go. We got court seats for the Cavs exhibition game in Pittsburgh, and they're playing the Houston Rockets.
Ooh.
And I'm like, yes, I don't care how much it costs. I'm a Cavs fan. It's LeBron. So I get there. We are on courtside seats. That's an exhibition game, so it wasn't thousands of dollars. It was a couple $100. But I would say this is worth it to see LeBron live right in front. So we're sitting there. And all of a sudden, the PA announcer comes on. Ladies and gentlemen, the scratches for tonight's game. LeBron James. I was like, are you kidding me? He sat in a maroonish gold sweatsuit on the bench. And I'm sitting. I looked at my buddy and said, son of a gun. We got duped. He's not even playing. It was still a good game, but at the same time, I was like, oh, my God. But no, I've been to Cleveland many times to watch the Cavs.
So you've at least seen LeBron play before?
I have.
Okay, that's good.
I've got to see him live.
I can imagine if that was the only game you went to.
No. We go up to Cleveland. I used to take a group of students every year to Cleveland for a game. We used to do that. The last trip was several years ago in a snowstorm. I'll never forget that one.
Oh, yeah. I think you mentioned that before.
Yeah, but it was a great game. And then not long before that, the Cavs actually approached us when we were still in NAIA school, of course, and they offered us to open the Cavs season with a game before the Cavs game. And so it was women's basketball, and I'm trying to think of who we played. It was a Northern Ohio team. I think it was Northern Ohio. It was another NAIA team, and we played right on the court, and then I guess like any arena, they made us all leave, even though we had tickets. You know, they made us all leave and come back in because they had to, I'm sure, go throughout the stands, make sure that everything was okay. And then we had a wonderful reception. The reception area for the Cavaliers is in the basement, not on the top of the stadium, which is really unique. So we go down and had a reception for all the teams and everything else. And back then, and I believe, I'd have to look at it, so I apologize. At the time, the president of the Cavs was from Pittsburgh. He was an Upper St. Clair guy. And so there's all kinds of connection. There I'm shaking hands with the president of the Cavaliers, and we're talking about Upper St. Clair and how we're both Pittsburgh guys. There's that connection. If I ever needed that, I could call, hey, you remember me? You know, that kind of idea. So we've had that connection with the Cavs. It's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. And I mean, Point Park also has the connection with all three major sports teams. I mean, we're in walking distance of all three of them. And I'm going to set the boundary here real quick. You're actually talking to two non-Steeler fans right now.
Okay.
Which is kind of interesting. I'll share my team. I'm a Cardinals fan.
Cardinals?
And the reason why I'm a Cardinals fan is actually because of Larry Fitzgerald.
Okay.
I'm a big Fitz guy. Love Pitt. I've season tickets my entire life. So that's why I'm a Cardinals fan. Nick, would you like to share your favorite team?
I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Wow.
Yeah, look at the disappointment you just put on his face.
Wow.
It was surely a weekend of football, and I think this is a great time to talk some sports and especially talk some football. Steelers have a big game coming up in Ireland this weekend. The Steelers are going to be considered the home team against the Minnesota Vikings. Dean Paylo, do you have any thoughts you want to share on this Steelers team, where this team is heading, especially Sunday's game? It's a big one, especially taking on the Minnesota Vikings, who literally just shut down the Cincinnati Bengals 48-3.
Yeah. Well, it's without Joe Burrow.
Right.
But at the same time, again, a huge Steelers fan, same conference forever, with Baltimore and Cleveland and Cincinnati. And, there's that, God, the true competition, let's just say, the true hatred that you have. And one of the young ladies that I was talking to, a freshman, is from Baltimore. And the first thing she says, "Go Ravens." And I was like, are you kidding me that you just said that in this room? But, and then I said, I appreciate that. I do. I'd be lying to you if I said, it's going to be a slam dunk. There are so many Steeler fans that said, what are you talking about, Nick? Of course the Steelers are going to win. No. I mean, let's be the reality. Every game so far, the Vikings have been putting up crazy numbers, so their offense is clicking. Defense on the other side, but yet their defensive coordinator is our former, I don't know what his role was. He wasn't called the defensive coordinator here, but he was an advisor to the defense, if you remember. Flores, who should have been our defensive coordinator. They always have a fierce defense. Come on, the Purple People Eaters, that kind of going back in the day. And I will have to be honest with you. I'd be surprised if the Steelers get out of Ireland with a win. And it's such a unique atmosphere. I listen to sports constantly, too. I get it. It's in my blood. And the fan made a really good point the other day. And they said that these games, especially in England or in Ireland, Spain, it's a hodgepodge. It's a coming together of – and you guys know this, you're going to see every jersey represented in that stadium. It's not as though, there's a lot of Steeler fans going, so you're going to see a lot of terrible towels. You do everywhere. That's the beauty of Steelers. But you're going to see Vikings, Cardinals, Cowboys. You're going to see, because they all want to come to that game. Mm-hmm. And they said the thing that makes this unique is the noise. The noise never stops.
Yep.
Because, one, a lot of times, if you have a lot of international, a lot of Irish folks that are at the game, they don't know what they're, a lot of times cheering for. They can watch, I'm sure, a lot of, in this day and age, you could watch a lot of American football. But at the same time, there's that hum. So it's going to be a different atmosphere. But I thought the idea of bringing Rodgers here was a bad idea. And then I've got to be the first person to say that, you know what, I've warmed up to this, and he is who he is. He still has talent at 41 years old. I've got to tell you, he still can get that ball out. He's getting zero time in the pocket, guys. As soon as when he goes under center, I'm like, this is bad. The guy should never get under center. He should always be in the shotgun, because if he goes under center, by the time he centers that ball and he gets it in his hands, he's got 2 or 3 guys already on him. How many times has he thrown the ball into the ground this season? So it's been frustrating because the offensive line is just not where it needs to be.
So I'm assuming your prediction going into this weekend is the Vikings based on the purple tie that you're wearing today?
Oh, you know what? That was not even that. That was not even. But it pains me to say this. I hope that we can get out of Ireland with a victory. I would be lying to you if I said I would be shocked if we do. I just think that they're clicking right now. And it's a weird league this year, just for the fact that we saw last night that Baltimore loses and they're 1-2. Possibly going to be 1-3, and this is the team that they're talking about going to the Super Bowl, especially with Kansas City being down this year.
They're also 1-2.
And how they're starting. I know. I don't think anyone's crying tears except people in Kansas City about that. But at the same time, you're seeing a changing of the guard. Look at Indianapolis. They're playing out of their minds.
Daniel Jones looks like the second coming of Dan Marino right now.
They couldn't pack him up fast enough in New York and get him out of here. He's horrible. And then next thing you know, again, that talks about the system and playing in a system that you should be in. And he is there. He looks, he does. It looks like an amazing quarterback.
I want to go around the room real quick. What's our Super Bowl predictions for this year?
Wow.
Then we have one more question after that.
Okay.
Wrap things up.
Let me think. AFC. Wow. With Baltimore being 1 and 2,
know.
this is hard. AFC. I do not believe it's going to be Kansas City. Let me throw out Chargers.
Ooh, I like that. I'm not mad at that at all.
Yeah. Chargers.
Herbert's playing lights out.
Oh, he really is. Chargers. Wow. NFC. I don't know. I would throw out there, Minnesota's got a good shot. They've got, a presence. I'm trying to think who else. I can't say Dallas. Sorry, Nick. There is no way.
Thank goodness.
As long as Dak Prescott is under center, I'm
Thank
sorry.
goodness.
Come on, Paylo. You got to agree with me. You got to put him on his edge over there. He's like all happy that you didn't pick him.
And hey, big blow to the Cardinals.
Yeah,
I know.
Sorry,
Connor.
say goodnight to the Cardinals.
James Conner. God, love him too. Pitt guy.
Yep.
When I saw that, looked like a severe leg
It's
injury.
bad. Yeah.
And so, I don't know. It's kind of a crapshoot, as they say in the.
I'll tell you mine. I
NFC.
got Ravens and Packers. That's mine too.
I forget the Packers. Yeah.
They got Micah Parsons.
Yeah, but Love's hurt, correct?
Iffy. He played last week.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he played last week.
Okay. I didn't see that. I knew
He
that
did lose to the Browns though.
Yeah.
but-
I was gonna say they lost to the Browns. What a weird game that was
Yes.
with the field goal situation.
I'm going to have to go Cowboys and Steelers.
Wow. That's one for the ages.
Think the
That's
80s.
going back to what was that? Is that 79 the
79.
last time? Was that
Yeah.
Cowboys Steelers? I was alive. We had a watch party, believe me. I was already I was getting close to being a teenager back then, and it was those days. I know we lived them too much, but I was alive and watched all the 4 Super Bowls in the 70s, and huge Jack Lambert fan. Huge Jack.
What a guy.
You don't know how bad I want to and one of our administrators here in town at Point Park lives in Katanning, and so does Jack Lambert. And I want to drive up to Katanning, and I bet you I could ask this administrator if he knows where Jack lives. And I know that Jack is he's a forest ranger in some way, shape, or form. A game commissioner. He's a game commissioner. I'm not even a hunter, but I might go out in the woods just to have Jack Lambert come up to me and say, "Do you have your hunting license?" It's Jack Lambert. Bleed black and gold. But I don't know, Nick. I hope. I don't know. That would be awesome. I just can't see it.
I was going to say, Jack actually follows me on X.
Really?
Yes, it was out of the blue. I didn't even realize it was Jack, and I was scrolling through notifications, and he just followed me within the past few months. And Jack has followed me, and he compliments me on my work. And
Well, good for Jack. He was a hero of mine. I had every Jack Lambert jersey. I wore it to school. Back then, it's similar today. I mean, I just love the NFL for that. The passion that we all have for the teams that we root for.
It's real.
It's just it's unique and it's so real. It really is.
It really is. You can definitely tell there's a big bond over that as well. But I want to ask you one last question today to end things off, Dean Paylo. We've asked every single guest this. I've asked Chris Prasalis this.
Okay.
We've asked Bernie this. We're going to ask you this now. What's the go-to restaurants? What's your favorite place to grab a meal here in Pittsburgh?
Downtown or really anywhere
Just
in
in
the
general,
outskirts?
anywhere you want. We're foodies.
We're foodies.
We are foodies on the
you're
podcast.
Foodies.
Go-to place, go-to meal.
Go-to place, go-to meal. Are either of you from the South Hills? No, you say
Nope.
you're from
no,
I'm from Carnegie.
I'm from New Kensington.
you're New Ken. I was just thinking about that. In the day, Papa J's in Carnegie was
Yes.
just off
Oh
the
my
charts.
goodness.
God rest its soul.
Mm-hmm.
Local place in the South Hills is a restaurant called Pasta 2.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's an Italian restaurant. Best chicken parmesan you will ever eat in your life. And you will carry out food. Everybody walks in there and carries it out. I have followed this restaurant for so many years. No, I don't know him personally, but know of the owner, know who he is. And he started in this little shack. I kid you not, it had about 10 tables. And then he grew into this wonderful restaurant spot. It's right at the entrance of South Park, the park. If you look and you're sitting at the red light and you're going to enter South Park, if you look to your right, you'll see this big sign that says Pasta 2. And Chicken parm. Italian is my go-to. And that is a wonderful place. I'm a sucker for gnocchi and stuff like that. So
Okay.
yeah. And I'm not even
We'll
Italian.
have to give it a try then.
I'm not even Italian.
You're not even Italian, you just like
I'm
the
not
Italian
even
food. You
Italian. I
just
just
like
love
it.
Italian food.
That's the best.
You like a sauce guy too with all the pasta?
Oh, absolutely.
You have to.
Meat sauce too. I'm
Oh,
a
meat sauce
sucker
is the
for
best.
meat
Yeah.
sauce. People hate meat sauce.
That's
just
weird.
like they hate meat ravioli. I'm like, you people are crazy.
What? Oh, beef. Oh,
You got to add so much flavor. But yeah, that would be my go-to. To be honest with you, there's so much great food in this city. I loved several years ago when they called us, one of the top food cities in the United States. And you're talking about that with New York and Chicago and everything else, and we were rated, I think, number one food city. I'm like, yes, we are. There's just so many great restaurants. It doesn't have to cost you an arm and a leg either. You can get really good meals, but there's so many. I always say which is Pittsburgh. Every section of town's got its favorite. North Hills, South Hills, East, West. You could always find some great locations.
Totally agree. Now, I do appreciate you again so much for coming on, taking the time out of your day. Sorry for the little inconvenience before we got in the room, but I'm glad we got to make this happen.
This is awesome. Guys, anytime. If you got topics, and I love this stuff because, again, after those years, I'm still a PA announcer. I'm still living it. Oh, yeah, I was the voice of the South Park Eagles. That's my community for many years. I'm calling football this year. Since my kids graduated, slowly but surely I've been pulling back in a sense, but I got sucked back in to call football. I love PA announcing. That's where I started. I started in broadcasting in a sense of they asked me to be a PA announcer, and went from there. And so I love going back to the roots and knowing that you, as an individual, have an opportunity to. I mean, people go, really? You could make a difference? Sure, you can. You can get a crowd into it. You can do so much as a PA announcer because I get into it, believe me. And I've called football, basketball, soccer, all of those. And you can really see that a PA announcer, if they're good at their job, is going to get people into this.
Of course.
If you have this boring, first down, and if no one is going to, what is that? You got to have a first down call. You got to have that third down to get the, if you're on defense, getting it pumped up. You got to have a touchdown call. You got to do all that to get people into it. So I really enjoy that. So I get to live what you guys in the future are going to do. I think you both are doing amazing things. Please don't stop. I can't wait to brag about you both and tell stories about you on the next group that comes through and says, hey, we want you to sit down. And I could brag about the things that you're doing because you all are doing amazing work.
Thank you. That means the absolute world. We really do appreciate those kind words. And we also want to thank all of you for tuning into this amazing episode. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and go comment down below what you think. We'll have a new interview next Sunday. Until next time, I'm Austin Cairns. That's Nicholas Brown. See you in the next one. Peace.